Come on, Shaq.
All right, our next roaster is the one and only Bob Dutko.
First of all, Derek, God told me to tell you he doesn't like you.
Tell me something I don't know.
Glenn, right? I do a lot of these events, and I'm supposed to act like we know each other now, right? By the way, listen, the Salvation Army called, and they said that they won't press charges if you do come back and pay for that shirt. What is that? Is this like your Randy Travis imitation? Seriously, is that a Pfeiffer shirt? I want to tell you something absolutely true, and I mean this sincerely to the audience. My wife and I have been married 28 years. We were married in 1984 on May 5th. Does that date sound familiar to anyone? May 5th, 1984, tonight is my wedding anniversary. And I'm not with my wife, I'm here looking at you. The way I see it, you owe my wife a dozen roses. You owe me a romantic evening. Do you have any idea what And yes, I would rather look at my wife than look at you. I mean, nothing personal, but can we be honest? We love Glenn. We do. Not a handsome man. Seriously, I mean, Glenn, a freight train would take a dirt road looking at that face, okay? Now, I see some of the guys dressing like bikers, and some of you guys are doing the whole, oh, we want to look just like Glenn, we're going to dress like a biker. No, I didn't bother doing that. I thought about trying to, honor Glenn by imitating him as best as possible, and the closest I came is I did smear some bugs on my teeth, and I haven't showered all week. So that's the closest I'm getting to be like a biker like Glenn. Now, let me ask you seriously. What is with the biker thing? Seriously. I don't understand that. I don't know if you're trying to be a tough guy. It's like, let me be tough, let me be like a Hell's Angel or something. The Jew thing with the biker thing, it doesn't work. I mean, you don't sound tough when you start a gang called, Abraham's Bosom's Angels. We heard seriously the serious story earlier about the testicular cancer, and that could be a serious thing. I had one of those near-death experiences once myself, and I thought I'd share this with you. It's really an interesting experience. You have those few moments when you're at the pearly gates, and Peter was there greeting me, and one of the things that he did, it was really a cool thing. You were able to see how people you knew spent eternity. And I thought this was just so cool. And so I'm looking at this, and I as I'm looking around and surveying people in all of eternity, I see John Denson, for example, and I said, wow, hey, how about this? But I noticed he wasn't with his wife, he was with some really, really ugly woman. She was horrid. One of the ugliest women I've ever seen. And I go, what in the world is all that about? Why does he have to spend eternity? I mean, why is he with that woman? And Peter said to me, well, John didn't lead a very good life, and so for his punishment, he has to spend eternity with this woman. And I go, wow, John. So we're walking along a little bit further, and then I see Rabbi Lauren. And Rabbi Lauren is not with his wife. He's with an even uglier woman. And I say, oh no. You're kidding me, not Lauren. I said, what happened? He said, well, Lauren didn't lead a very good life, and for his punishment, he has to spend eternity with this woman. And I go, wow. So we're walking on a little bit further, and I see Glenn. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see this. Glenn is with the most beautiful, gorgeous woman you've ever seen in your life. And no, it's not even Alexander. It's like this supermodel, gorgeous kind of woman. And I'm thinking, you've got to be kidding me. And I say to St. Peter, how does this happen? And St. Peter says, well, she didn't lead a very good life. As I've gotten to know Glenn over the years, you learn things about him that you didn't. I thought he was this huge Rocky fan. This is how clueless I am. I thought he was this huge Rocky fan because they kept like imitating Sylvester Stallone, yo, Then come to find out he's nothing more than a dyslexic Jew. I didn't even think about that. You know what? My wife told me, don't tell that one because it'll fall flat. And I was so afraid I was going to get a wah, wah, wah. I know she's going to do it. Okay, now, when I do my show, there's one thing that I have to say, and Glenn, seriously, you drive me nuts when you do this, all right? Anytime he calls into my show, if I'm talking about anything, either Jewish or even in the Old Testament, okay, anything pre-Matthew, I can count on. He's sitting there listening in case I mispronounce something. So that you can call in and correct me on the air. Okay, do you mind? Don't you have show prep to do when you're on? Leave me alone. I wrote more notes. Oh yeah, you know what? He used to guest host for me. And it was great. I would enjoy him sitting in there guest hosting, and every time he would guest host, I'd come in and there'd be like another little trinket for me. Remember all the little cars and the little motorcycle and even my little Elvis guy standing there. And so just all these little things, and I appreciate you giving those to me. But seriously, there's one thing that I don't appreciate. Okay, you know how with all that, microphones have these little phone, I can ring it out every time I get back in there. Stop it! By the way, okay, it smells of bacon. You guest host for me through all this time, and then you go over to 1500. You and Lauren go skipping over to 1500 AM, and then you start doing a show there. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, fine, that's how you want to be, no problem. As far as I'm concerned, WMUZ is God's chosen station for this area. You guys were grafted in. Gentile broadcaster. That's the way it ought to be. But seriously, what time do you just, so you're talking to the people at Salem, the 1500, you're like, well, you know what? We really want to do a show. Do you have anything open, in the 12 to 4 window? So you pick 3:30 to 4 to do your show. All right? The last half hour of my show, which by the way, the closer you get to drive time, that's usually when the ratings are the highest. So you take the thickest period of my show and you create your own show. So I've decided what I'm going to do is, I'm starting this new thing from 3:30 to 4 every day. It's going to be the Bob Dutko Show Messianic Jewish segment. We're having my producer contact Sid Roth right now. You guys are going down. You guys are going down. So you know what? You can just enjoy both your listeners while you have them. Because I'm taking them back. finish with, I know that, some of you are thinking, well, Bob, you're going to come here and you're going to tell the stereotypical Jewish jokes about how Jews are cheap and they're, this kind of thing, right? And it's like, I'm not going to play into those stereotypes. Before you think that I'm going to start telling all those kind of jokes, like Glenn owned a brake shop one time where not only would your car stop on a dime, it would bend over and pick it up. I'm not gonna go down that road of saying that the reason his nose is so big is because air is free. Or that Glenn and Lauren created copper and wire one time when they were fighting over a penny. No. That would be disrespectful. So by the way, have you gone, I'll bet you've already found out if there's change in these cushions, haven't you? I saw your hand down there kind of suddenly feeling around. Glenn and I one time were having a conversation about tithing and how we determine, the way that we tithe and such. And it was a very interesting story, because I told Glenn, I said, what I tend to do, actually, Glenn and Lauren and myself were talking about this, and I said, well, what I tend to do is I take all of my money, and I draw a line on the ground, and I throw my money up in the air, and whatever lands on the left side of the line, I keep for myself, whatever lands on the right side of the line, I give back to the Lord. And Lauren said, Bob, do a fairly similar thing. I draw a circle on the ground and I throw my money up in the air. Whatever lands in the circle, I give to the Lord. Whatever lands outside the circle, I keep. And Glenn said, well, my process is pretty similar. I take all of my money, I throw it up in the air, and what the Lord wants, He takes. I do want you to know, and I'll leave you with this, I do want you to know that you've been a good friend. I appreciate our friendship that we've had over the years. I sincerely do, even though you're a competitor. And I want you to know that Glenn is the kind of person that will do anything for you. If you need someone, if you need a friend, if you need someone to help you with something.
If you need windows.
He will buy some windows. And by the way, if you'd like to sponsor a child today, if anybody has any lawsuits, we got 1-800-SENIOR. Don't get me started. So listen, he'll be there for you no matter what you need. And I just want to give you one quick example in closing to back up what I'm saying, okay? I was putting a swimming pool in my backyard, and I couldn't really afford to pay a bunch of diggers to come out there and dig this giant hole for the swimming pool. And I asked Glenn if he would, I wanted him to help me do this. I invited him over, I had him in the backyard. And you know something? He did this for me. I told him I dropped a quarter down a gopher hole. He had it dug in 10 minutes. Glenn, thank you, my brother. God bless you.
You're well worth what we paid you today. All that money that got caught in the air. Does anybody actually here listen to Bob Dutko? You got a couple fans here.
What station?
Obviously they're not watching, they're listening to the right station there. But anyways, if you listen to him this week, Bob was having a challenge. He must have went to Northridge, I guess. And they gave you some coins, is that right?
Oh.
And I don't know how he got to this spot, but he dropped them in a urinal. I don't know. Why would you play with your money? We are going to go there. But I thought, you know, if a guy drops his money in the urinal, he should have a few props with him in case he wants to go and get those things in the urinal. So I thought a snorkel mask would be good for you. You definitely want a pair of gloves. And you don't want anybody to know it's you. And I wouldn't talk about it on there. And then after you've gone in there, just in case there's a hole in that glove, you might want some hand sanitizer. Which reminds me of a song.
2 coins in a fountain. Which one will the Lord bless? 2 coins in a fountain. Oi, what a mess.